Can I give you a confession that I might cut out of this?
I would love to hear it. Should we start off with the things that you love about the Bowmars?
Have you seen them?
Yes, I'm
Both
aware.
of those slabs of meat.
Oh, you're going there, huh? This is going to sound bad. I feel like Fish and Game are the people who couldn't be real cops. And seriously, I really do.
Shit out.
I really do.
They're gonna show up here. This is not you messing with Lancaster.
I've seen
different.
so many instances of this. But yeah, I got 10 to go. So
Dude,
between
that's
now
epic.
and between now and tomorrow morning, sometime it'll be 70,000.
70,000.
Yeah.
When did you start your channel? Like because you've been doing stuff with Dan and Tim.
3 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
3 years to 70K.
You know, people like the content that we make that is intended and geared for you to do it yourself and understand how to work on things, right? So they tend to try to support you, even though I tell them not to. I tell them to go buy it from your local pro shop, but there is a lot of stuff.
Everybody knows what you mean, though. They know what you mean. Listen,
No, I'm serious.
No, just go to just go to my website. Just go to my website and get all the stuff off my website. Make me rich. Make me rich.
You'll never get rich doing this.
So that I can buy my buddy Brandon. Welcome to the King Cobra podcast, everybody.
Which I don't know if this is a good sign or a bad sign, but like when we first went over there, the King Cobra was facing the wrong way. There was the only one that wasn't labeled right. I don't know how long those have been sitting there, but they're out. That was the last one.
You need it when you bought it. I hope that it hit their machine and they're gonna
reorder
replenish.
It. Yes, they will replenish because I don't know where else you would find.
They
that.
are going to be confused. So I legitimately looked into what it would take to get a King Cobra sponsorship for the podcast, but it's Anheuser-Busch. So they give you an Anheuser-Busch sponsorship, which that's not going to happen.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
King Cobra is in the Anheuser-Busch line.
It's an Anheuser-Busch beer.
Oh.
Beer. I'll put that in quotes.
Yes.
It's an Anheuser-Busch homeless product.
I really thought we would have been a little classier than this.
Not me.
Nobody.
Not me. I am going to open my Chat GPT because for our episode today, I asked for a summary of...
Oh, yes. It's probably time to pop here.
It is. Some of the text messages.
Natural ice.
Oh, I'm so excited to talk about this one. I'm going to get angry. I'm going to get fired up.
King Cobra tastes better.
Yeah, the Natty Ice there's a little too much bite to it.
That's all right.
A little bit of bite.
Yeah. Are we actually ever going to drink something of quality on here? I fully expected.
You have a very nice bourbon sitting over there.
That's a whiskey. That's not a bourbon,
you have a very nice whiskey sitting over there.
Yeah, you can grab that if you want.
No, I don't.
No,
I want this.
You want this. You want this
Quiero
trash.
King Cobra.
Oh, my God. Oh, we're bringing back 40s, people.
This was, again, like $6.50 for the two of these, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, actually, when I went over there, it was around lunchtime. And the first night I was here, because there's a gas station right across the street here, I hadn't eaten. And it was late, and I was exhausted. So I just went to the gas station to try to find something to eat. And he's got a hot case with hot food in it. And I'm like, oh, you want a cheeseburger? All right, I said, what would you get? And he goes, oh, you want a cheeseburger? You want two? I'm like, no, one's fine. Brandon, it was really freaking good. Now, I had been drinking a bit. So, when you get that false sense of that was really good, right? So I went back today for lunch and got another one. And it was really freaking good.
I mean, every once in a while, gas station pizza can be pretty epic.
Well, I told the guys, and they're like, dude, we've had like 6 different things over there. It is all really good. Like they do fish, they do fried fish on Fridays. It's amazing.
That's weird.
Like, wild.
Fried fish?
Yeah,
that's
right?
a risky one.
From a gas
I will
station.
say the coffee is legit at the Just
good.
Love Coffee.
Yeah, it's really good. They got little sandwiches and things there too. I mean, it's a nice little setup. We're very fortunate. It's like walk across the street, grab something that actually does resemble food.
Yeah, we're broadcasting live from the Nashville North Archery shop, by the way. This isn't actually live. This is recorded. But what he's talking about is the proximity to this beautiful, fabulous new archery establishment and mecca just outside of Nashville, Tennessee. Open now. Come check us out. Like and subscribe if you're still watching.
I hope you're still watching. It's been like 3 minutes.
You know what? I bet there's a ton of people that are like, they see the background behind you, and they're like, I'm not watching this bullshit. This is
You're the one who put it there, dude. Jesus.
As soon as we get your sign in,
Yes, we can replace the BJ.
Why did you do that? Because I saw them in the aisle at the Hobby Lobby, and they were $8 a piece.
Yes.
And I went, this is perfect. This is everything I'd hoped it would be. The taxidermy is going to stay forever.
Yeah.
Until he rots away all the way.
Yeah, he's halfway there, I think.
Yeah, no, he's definitely on his journey of failure.
Where did you find that?
Jocelyn, dude, she's just when I tell her that I want to buy something and it's a little interesting to her and a little weird, she will find like here's 16 options and they're all like amazing. So I've got another thing in the car.
Of course you do. Oh my God.
It ended up being a prop. And so I didn't want to bring it in for the podcast, but it looks like a raven. That the raven just started to deteriorate, but the underskeleton is all plastic skeleton. And when it arrived, I was like, damn it. But when you saw it online, it was hideous. Like something out of a Tim Burton movie.
Yeah, right.
Speaking of hideous.
Exactly what I was thinking. Yes.
So what I want to talk about today is a thing that we had introed last time, which was the CJ Alexander case. So had you heard about this before I sent you that video?
No, I did not. I had no idea what it was about, and you had sent it to me and said, hey, I want to talk about this. Listen to this interview.
So I get a little obsessed with people that live at the edge of humanity. And so I'll kind of give you a description of what that is. So I followed a homeless dude in Nashville around for a year.
Yeah, I remember you telling me
that
story.
So like I didn't follow him a ton, but like I would just intermittently go check this guy out. His name was Robert Dale Brown, and he'd been arrested in Nashville over 700 times for random stuff.
Yeah.
Like masturbating in public and peeing in public and like public intoxication, just all sorts of crazy stuff. I watch interviews with like porn stars and how they got into that world, and like major drug addicts and people who have been chronically homeless, just people who live at the edge of humanity.
Right.
And so when I heard about this CJ Alexander thing, I was so interested and hopeful that a person that I felt like he didn't live at the edge, he wasn't in that same category, but like he was probably adjacent to it.
Right.
Like he seems borderline like Appalachia. I think he's from northern Tennessee or like crazy rural Ohio.
Right.
And he just seemed like the type of guy that you were like, man, if what was going to happen to you, if what happened to you was going to happen to somebody, like you'd kind of want it to be to a guy like this.
Right.
So I'll sum it up for people. CJ Alexander. And I'm not going to get dates and stuff like that right. I may read through some of this Chat GPT stuff, but basically he shot an absolute monster typical buck in Ohio. I think that the total score was like 206 and 7/8. So if you see the pictures of it, you just Google it. It's like the biggest rake you've ever seen that's mounted to it here. It's unbelievable. And it was such a cool animal. And then he basically, the story starts coming out like, hey, I was hunting my sister's property, 30 acres. It was the first day I sat. I had to sell my vertical bow the year before because, you know, we needed money, and I borrowed a buddy's crossbow and his climbing stand. And I got up there and I had this monster walk out in front of me. And he took the shot. It wasn't a great shot. He felt like he didn't make a perfect shot, so he backs out, and they come back the next day and they find literally one of the largest typical deer that's ever existed on the planet that's been taken. And it turns out he's just a big piece of shit liar.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a very accurate description. Yeah. So from watching the thing that you sent me, he had done this before.
That was the other part.
Like he had killed another big deer on the same guy's property like the year before.
All right, so I want to break this down a little bit more. So what ended up happening was after he kills this deer, the pictures start coming out. And like, because you know, I mean, like he shares it to one place.
You're screwed.
And then all of a
You're not
sudden,
hiding it.
But he did it on purpose. Because the whole point of this was he wanted fame, he wanted popularity so that he could make money.
Yes.
Like that was the whole point of this.
Yeah.
And as the DNR starts looking into it, they're getting text messages that are from him and his fiance back and forth that literally the entire point of him going after this deer
was for money.
On somebody else's property where he was chronically sneaking into someone's private property because he knew this deer was there, and he was hauling in bags of corn and he was setting up like a kill spot. on someone else's property. There was points in time where he'd be wearing all black. Like, I'm assuming he's probably doing that at night, maybe clicking the button, try to, put a little light out there and whack something.
Sure.
And so he went on the Hunter podcast, and he basically told this story, and they did, a 3.5 hour long podcast where he basically just literally sat there and just lied like a fucking sociopath to these guys for 3.5 hours. But he blended this story together so that he could, if he didn't get caught for the next 20 or 30 years, he could travel the country with this deer head, probably get paid small amounts of money to go tell the story of this amazing feat that he had accomplished.
And have reproductions made and sell the reproductions to people who wanted a copy of that buck. And you could make 6-7 figures off of that. You really could.
That's so crazy.
Shooting a top 5 whitetail in the world.
So after I saw that podcast, I was it was last year, and I was shooting in the barn aisle, so it was cold, and I was like, you know what? I don't know how to make a video interesting of me trying to shoot a 300. Like, I don't know how to do that. But so what I did was I set up my camera, and I was like, I'm gonna just act like everything that this dude said was not exactly true. This is like the day or two after Hunter podcast came out, and basically what I did was I talked through the scenario of how I think he might have poached the deer.
That's awesome.
And so the reason I did it was just vibes.
Little foreshadowing.
Yeah, well, and I didn't know that it was going to be that way. But
feeling.
I just had a weird feeling. Like, you're listening to that podcast, and there was just certain things that just, like, there was too many things that didn't make sense. There were too many things that didn't add up, and then you kill the biggest deer ever. And so the scenario that I came up with was not nearly as bad as what ended up happening. Right. So we're not going to go into as much depth as some of the other podcasts that I've listened to where they've actually gone down and broke through the analysis. Like, literally, there's a game warden podcast, Warden Watch, I think, and he had that's
the one you sent to me, right?
I think it probably was. So he has he interviewed the game wardens from Ohio and basically had them talk through how essentially they take some of the pictures that CJ had on his phone, and they find this one particular stick, and it was like pawpaw trees and something else,
some other leaf,
and there was a certain area that they knew there was like a really heavy density of this type of tree, and they were like, but it's not on his sister's 30 acres,
right?
But we know over here there is, and they go to that site.
And find the stick.
They find the stick.
The actual stick in the picture.
That's crazy.
That's
so
wild.
Not only did they find the stick, but what they found was
a knife that he left.
They found a couple of knives.
Some orange rope or something.
They found some orange rope that he'd used to basically tie the tarp around the animal to drag him out. Because they didn't gut him on the site.
Yeah,
they wanted to pull him out.
Put the gut somewhere else. So if you ever came back and said, "Hey, look, here's where his gut pile
Here's where the gut pile was."
Yeah. Yep. It was the Warden's Watch, and it was episode 139.
Okay, all right.
For those who want to go listen to that.
Yeah. So if you're interested, it's like I said, for me, I've like this kind of stuff where somebody would think like, "Oh my gosh, this is going to make my life so much better. I'm going to have this epic experience, and I'm going to get to tell people for the rest of my life, and they will be amazed, and they will be jealous and envious of me, and I will get money for the rest of my life." From going from that feeling to a $40,000+ fine, jail time,
yikes,
losing your license and ability to hunt in multiple states for 10 years is what they were saying. 10 freaking years.
Yeah.
But then, like you'd mentioned, it got worse because as they're reading back through text messages, which this just kind of goes to show how stupid this guy is, as soon as the DNR gets involved, how are you and your fiance not taking your cell phones and flushing them down the toilet?
Well, I am aware. I've known other people who have gotten in trouble for poaching. I've known people that investigated people for poaching. And I have a buddy of mine that's a fish and game cop in Spokane. He's going to retire pretty quick. Shout out to Dave Spurbeck if he's listening. He's a good
What's up, Spurbeck?
Our daughters played beach volleyball together. Or
Sounds hot.
My oldest daughter.
Oh,
Sounds
sorry.
hot. Don't do that. Yuck. And he was one of the guys that investigated somebody that I know that got in trouble. And as soon as anything goes across state lines, it's federal.
Oh yeah,
and they can pull your phone records, and they can look up your text messages. They don't steal your phone. They can look up your text messages.
Text message are actually readable through like oh crap.
Yes.
Okay, so Verizon.
So the moral of the story, if you're ever doing anything you're not supposed to be doing, do not text about it. Make a phone call.
Hilarious. So what he said was that he had forgotten his phone the day that he killed the deer. Yeah. So he said, I went in the dark, and that was one of the triggers on the Hunter podcast is, I think it was Jeremy, was like, wait, you'd never hunted this property before, and you went in the dark, and you didn't have your phone. How did you know where you were going?
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, yeah, no, I just like, it was fine. I made it to where I was going to hunt. And he wasn't, okay, that was like a little bit bad. Like he'd thought it through a little bit more than that. But there was just like 5 or 6 moments in the conversation that were kind of like that, where you just smelled a little methy rat. That was what it was. So let's see. I want to go through a little bit more details of this because, again, I just find it so fascinating. And part of the other reason I find it fascinating is this previous hunting season that we just got out of. I guarantee you that there is somebody else who will emerge shortly who shot a monster freaking mule deer or elk or whatever under the same circumstances. Probably. Where they did something completely illegal. Like there's poaching. And actually that is a thing that I kind of wanted to talk to you about. Maybe we can go there now. There's poaching, like he did this, purposefully and knowingly sneaking onto somebody else's property, potentially at night based on some of the clothes that he was wearing, using a spotlight, baiting on somebody else's property. Like I'm talking full on what you expect a poacher to be.
Yes.
And then there's accidental something that they would classify as poaching.
Yes.
So like you go in and you're setting up on the edge of public land and you happen to be 5 feet into somebody's private.
Right.
Okay. How do you like... is it morally, like, is there a black and white line for you, or is there some gray in there when it comes to this?
Well, first off, I'm not sure where they truly identify poaching as. I don't know if they call poaching shooting it on somebody else's property or if that's trespassing. I'm not sure where they draw that line, technically. Just FYI, I'm not sure which way they go with it. Personally, because of who I am, and I've always been in a public figure state, I've always paid attention to any law and taken every one of them seriously. I've watched guys that own shops get in trouble for things like that and lose their whole business.
Yeah.
Like there was a dude in the Tri-Cities that had a pretty decent size archery shop, a couple of good brands. One of them was Hoyt. And he would hold the state tournaments in his building, right? There was a pretty big deal.
He was pretty legit.
He was pretty legit, and he got busted for shooting animals in the wrong state, like hunting a border and having the wrong tag. So you have a Washington tag, but you shoot an animal in Oregon.
Yeah, you're accidentally trespassing into an entirely different state.
Yes.
Yeah.
At multiple times, right? And so the Fish and Game decided that on the opening Saturday of the state tournament to raid his building.
Oh, man, that's amazing.
Yeah.
They looked on his website and they were like, oh, this will be embarrassing.
Yeah, so by Monday morning, he had lost his dealership with every major brand. They refused to sell him product.
Oh, that's brutal.
Yeah, that's bad. That's really bad. So, and I was young when that happened. So ever since then, I'm like, I ain't messing with a dang thing. And Glenn Berry got busted for poaching, and it was shooting an animal in the wrong state. And then
that's a weird one. What?
So hunting the Continental Divide.
Right, you're
in Washington, you're in Oregon or not Oregon, Montana and Idaho, right? And the seasons overlap, and he had a Montana tag, and he shot it in Idaho, and hadn't bought an Idaho tag. And at that time, you could still go down to the store as a non-resident and buy a tag after season opened. And he decided that it would be wise to cover up the elk, drive back to town and buy an Idaho tag rather than putting your Montana tag on it. Like if you really thought you were in Montana and shot it in Montana and then realized you weren't in Montana, you would put your Montana tag on it. That's what you would do.
Yeah.
Right.
To me though, that's still, to me, I would classify these things as like poaching. Like this isn't an accident.
Well, shooting an animal. So I think where the definition of poaching is, it's shooting an animal without a tag, shooting it by an illegal means within the tag.
Poaching.
And shooting an animal, like if you don't have a tag for Idaho and you shoot an animal in Idaho, you poached that animal, right? What do you got?
Well, it's giving me some more like detailed breakdowns.
Cool.
By the way, I use ChatGPT for all of my like searches like this, like a Google search type thing, and it's so much better.
So Brandon's feeding the machines
That
are going to take us.
Yeah, it's yes.
Terminator
exactly.
is coming.
We're all going to be in self-driving cars, and then it's going to all of a sudden just be like everybody turn left at the same time, and they're just that's what's going to happen.
Just drive us off cliffs.
Exactly. It's going to be simple. Poaching is the illegal hunting, capturing, or killing of wildlife in violation of local, state, or international laws. This can include hunting without a license or permit, killing animals out of season or in protected areas, taking endangered or protected species, exceeding bag limits, using illegal methods, i.e. spotlighting, baiting, in restricted areas, or using prohibited weapons. Poaching is typically done for meat, trophies, there you go, fur,
Yes.
or black market trade.
Yeah.
And can lead to large penalties.
So what it didn't state is shooting on private property.
Well, it said
It said like
the
verbiage
out of
of
season or in protected areas.
Protected areas are like wildlife preserves, things like that.
Yeah, but you would think that would a protected area or an area that you don't have permission to hunt in.
I don't know if that's technically poaching, and that's the only thing I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know if
we're
shooting it on private property is technically poaching.
So okay,
now shooting it without a tag is poaching. Shooting it out of season is poaching. Shooting it under illegal means, which would be like if there's no baiting and you're using bait. If there's no crossbow season and you're using a crossbow. If you can't, you shoot mechanical broadheads, but you shot it with a mechanical broadhead.
Okay, whoa.
That's an illegal method.
I know, but that's an interesting one.
But I think mechanicals are legal everywhere now. So I don't.
But
think it
even
matters.
if they weren't though, and you accidentally you didn't check that reg, like that's one of those ones where I go, like if I was the game warden and I showed up, I'd be like, hey, you shot him with a mechanical, and that's illegal in this state. Like you're not supposed to do that. And they would poop their pants a little bit. And I would be like, don't do that again. Like, make sure you're looking at the regs. But if somebody was 200 yards onto somebody's private property and had shot into an area where they were, whatever, like your little elk haven that you have.
Sure.
If somebody snuck onto your property and shot an elk off that, I would be like, yeah, everybody's going to jail tonight. Congratulations.
Sure.
So I think I'm talking about the nuance of like a mistake or a minor infraction versus like just full on you're a total asshole and you should spend time in jail, which CJ did. He ended up going to jail. I think it was 90 days that he had to actually serve, and then it was 180 potential. But if he doesn't pay back, like if he doesn't pay that fine back, he will never get to hunt again. He must pay that fine back or he never gets his hunting abilities back.
Wow.
$40,000 for a dude who looks like he makes $40,000 every 2 years. I'm purposefully being an asshole to him because fuck that guy is why.
There you go. Let me get that for you. You are leading this thing with a full charge, and I haven't gotten one yet for some reason, which is shocking because I'm usually the heralding.
Well, I'm kind of
profane
taking the lead
guy.
on this one anyway.
You are. Well, you were passionate about this discussion, and you should be, and I get that. But
I just think it's interesting. Again, I think it's interesting from a human perspective of what would make a person believe that they were desperate enough or that they were justified in whatever manner to sneak onto somebody else's property. And you kind of hinted at this. As the stuff came out and the DNR had his and his fiance's cell phone, they're going back and they realized that he had killed like a big, nice 160, 170 buck the year before on this same dude's private property.
Yeah.
With no license and no tag.
Yeah.
Shot it. Then went to the store, bought his tag, waited a couple more days, and then checked the deer in. And would have gotten away with it because nobody would have figured that out if he wasn't such a freaking idiot.
Right.
And kept the same text message thread with his girlfriend, but I guess maybe they did they subpoenaed it through. Okay.
They're stored.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, you can get them.
Yeah. So apparently after, and they start kind of investigating him, he starts doing these Google searches that are like, can they use your cell phone to pinpoint where you were? Because evidently he did have his cell phone the day he killed the deer, and he was using it all day while he was in the stand for stuff.
Right.
So like, I'm sure that they were able to go back and say stuff. And he also had Onyx points, waypoints that he was sharing with his wife, like, hey, this is where it is. Apparently he would take a glove and he would put a glove on the fence when he would go in of where he wanted her to pick him up on the way out.
Yeah.
Because he'd been caught there before. Like, I don't know. It's just, my mind is just blown.
You've never dealt with that? You've never seen that? You've never experienced that?
No.
Oh, man. It's way more common than you think. Another guy that I was actually really good friends with a long time ago when I was, late teens, early 20s. Really good buddy, shot in the shop, incredible shooter. Always killed big bucks, big whitetails, and he was really into that. And lo and behold, at some point, he went too far and down the line of what's legal and what's not, and eventually got in trouble for it. And he was hunting. The only thing that I ever knew that he did illegal that he told me of, like he called me after Fishing Game showed up at his house and told me what happened, and it's like he said he was like Chunk and Goonies when they said, "Tell me what you did." It's like, in the first grade, I stole my teacher's lunch money, like that. He's like, dude, I literally spilled everything I ever did. I was so scared, he just freaked out. And he was using, so he would buy his own tag for archery, and then he would get somebody else to buy a muzzleloader tag and somebody else to buy a rifle tag, so he could hunt during those seasons. But he was still hunting with archery equipment. He was still hunting in illegal means outside of that, and that he lost his right to hunt for 3 years.
Okay. So he was hunting. He was not able to purchase a tag. He was able to get an archery tag.
In the state of Washington, you have to pick your weapon that you hunt with.
And you're only allowed to hunt during that season. Okay, so he would get other people. Season.
He was hunting in all 3 seasons.
Yep.
Based off of when the activity existed, and he ended up shooting that deer with I can't remember if it was his mom's or aunt's or a buddy or something's muzzleloader tag that they bought for him. So, but he was hunting with archery equipment and hunted through early archery season and couldn't get the shot on it, and just kept hunting. I don't know if he ever shot something in the dark. I never asked, but I'd also known him to like work harder than anybody else to do it. It's just there's like a line, and either you're going to cross that line or you're not.
Okay,
and it would be baffling to you how many people fudge that line.
But assuming that, like, let's say he could personally purchase an archery tag, a muzzleloader tag, and a rifle tag, but he had decided to use a bow during muzzleloader season, and he was not allowed to. No, but I'm saying, let's just say he was not allowed to.
Oh, okay.
Is that considered poaching for you?
Yeah, it's hunting. It's hunting under in the season that's defined under a non-legal mean. So that would be no different according to the state. If you couldn't use it in Washington, you can use an inferior weapon in a superior season.
Okay.
So like a muzzleloader, a bow is considered an inferior weapon to a muzzleloader, so you can use it in muzzleloader season.
Yeah.
But you still have to have a muzzleloader tag.
Okay.
So you still have to have purchased a muzzleloader only tag.
Right. And that makes sense because the issue I do have is the duration of the hunting time that you can have.
Yes.
So I have an issue with that. I don't have an issue with the method of take as long as you're not like using a rifle during archery season.
Sure.
Now, but I get it. I mean, there's all these arbitrary rules. This is the crazy part. In some states like Tennessee, you can't bait here. Mm-hmm. You got to pull your bait and anything 2 weeks before.
Yeah, and in Washington we can.
Yeah, and in Ohio you can. Mm-hmm. So the interesting thing is this isn't about ethics or morals. It's about just here are the rules.
Here are the rules
and
that you
have
must
to
abide
follow
by.
the rules.
And that's one rule that I really don't think is right. And there's not very many rules that a state will implement that I literally just go, it's wrong that you're doing that. And I'll tell you why. Why do I think it's wrong that it's illegal to bait? Because you're allowing someone with wealth to feed the animals, but a poor guy can't.
Ooh, that's interesting because technically I can put
grow
bait
a food
in the
plot.
ground and I can grow it up.
You can grow a food plot. You can plant apple trees. You can do anything you want. If you have money and means, you can bait. There's just legal ways to do it.
Oh, that's super interesting.
Right, but a poor guy can't do that. A guy who doesn't own land can't do that. And that's why I disagree with it.
Okay.
Not because I think it's ethical or unethical to hunt over feed. Because I hate to break it to you, but 90% of the time you're hunting over a food source.
Because you go stop in an oak grove, or you go stop at the edge of a cornfield. It's
either there naturally or you add it. And the difference between someone like you that has a bunch of land, because you own a bunch of land,
not a bunch,
well, enough
to have deer on it, yes,
enough to have deer on it, and enough that you could put it in a food plot if you wanted to, and pinpoint and coordinate where the deer are going to go.
Yep,
and then hunt over it, which is hunting over bait, in reality.
I need a better blind system, though. I need something that's elevated. Maybe you can haul it in on a trailer. I don't know. I'm just saying, like,
there's this really cool one out there that I can hook you up with.
Ooh,
it's pretty sweet.
Fascinating. Foreshadowing.
Yeah, foreshadow.
Yeah, there you go. Okay.
Yeah, but the whole premise of it frustrates me because it takes the average guy who doesn't own land and that's going to hunt public land and tell him he can't have the advantage that you have.
Yeah,
and not to say you're not. I know you're not rolling in the the dirt, right? You don't have a shit ton of land, but
Right.
but you could do that where that guy can't,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
And that's not fair in my mind.
That's interesting. Okay, I've never really thought about that in that context.
Because everyone's always hunting over food or water or a travel corridor.
Yep.
That's where they're hunting, right?
Yeah.
They just are. There's no way around it.
Well, that's the point. Is you're trying to give yourself an advantage.
Yeah.
Of going. The advantage being going where there are deer.
Yes.
Like, and that's one of the other things that's always funny to me about people that give people shit about like hunting private or whatever those things are. Have you even thrown a dollar?
I just need
in
to say
here?
fuck right now because it's like we've been talking for a while and I haven't done one. Well, this has been a 90%, 10% episode, like 100%. But you're passionate about this, and I admire that. Like, bring it out.
I just think
all good.
I just think it's interesting. I think it's interesting to talk about CJ Alexander, but then to talk about people that have gotten in trouble for stuff that is a lot less, but that still puts them in a similar category. And then the moral and ethics.
You want to hear a lot less one? I
Yeah,
got a lot less one.
Yeah, tell me.
Really long time good friend of mine. I have known, and this is going to make me sound like I hang with bad people. I've known at least 5 or 6 people who've been busted, at least. But I've been in archery since I was like 9, and I've known almost any person who hunted in the area for a long time. And I'm in my late 40s, so
shop,
I'm likely to have
yeah.
to know like almost any person who got busted. I've known so many, and the one that I thought was the most horrifically unfair was a friend of mine named Jason was hunting with another guy. I know the other guy really well. We're friends. Known him a good time. He's done a lot better in his life. But I don't.
Connor.
No,
it's fine. You can say it.
No. I don't mention his name in this scenario because he doesn't want to talk about it. So I leave it out. But Jason was hunting with him, had dropped him off to go pursue an elk, and he had told him, "Do not go over that fence row. I don't care what you do. Do not go over that fence row. If you go over that fence row, I'm not going to come get you." And he takes off and goes hunting somewhere else, and he gets a call, said, "Hey, I got a bull. I need you to come pick me up." And he's way over that fucking fence row.
Yikes.
And so he gets it out, drives him home, right? And he's fucking furious. Thank you. Right? He's just fucking furious. Just hey, Brandon. Anyway, he's just irate. Like, he called me after it happened. And he said, "I will never hunt with that effing guy ever again. I am so mad and so upset." Right?
I would have left his ass there.
And
dude. I would have left
and
him
so
there.
and he got busted. And so Jason goes in and talks to them and tells them what happened. And said, "Hey," and they told him, "Oh, you won't have any affiliation. You're fine. Don't worry about it." He went in and told him everything that happened, and he lost his right to hunt.
Oh man, that's
for being honest. It was the most fucked thing I have ever experienced in Fish and Game. Fish and Game are fucking dirty. They really are. I'm sure there's some really good ones out there, including my buddy Dave. He's a good dude. But in general, they are trying to bust you, whether you deserve it or not, or whether you're knowingly doing something or not, or whether you were just in the area where something happened. They're going to pin it on you. And if they tell you you're going to be okay, don't listen. Deny everything and demand an attorney. Do not talk to them.
Yeah,
I hate to take that stance.
Yeah,
but I have watched so many people get royally screwed over because they were honest and didn't like a situation that happened and ended up getting in trouble when they had like no involvement.
Yeah, there's no point in messing around with that stuff. Like, that he should have first, under that scenario, he literally should have just been like, "Dude, you're an idiot. I am leaving. I'm not messing with you."
That's where he went wrong, because he technically was an accomplice at that point.
Absolutely, because he helped him pull it out.
Because he helped him get it out.
Absolutely,
and he shouldn't have.
No,
and that was only trespassing. So trespassing might be technically poaching, and then it becomes federal when you take it across state lines.
Oh, and yeah,
because you took it from Montana to Washington, right?
Because it's super close. Like, that's the thing, where you guys are up there, Montana, Idaho, Washington, like it's so close together. Like, the areas that you guys can hunt, like when we were hunting in Idaho for bear, they were like, you can't go another 10 miles up here, and because you're then in Montana. I was like, what?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Like, when you're in Tennessee and you're like, I want to go hunt elk, you're like, okay, you have to drive for 3 days. Good luck. And you won't see them when you get there. They'll be gone.
You're not wrong. So yeah, it's just amazing how many small little technicalities. And another good example of a time when Fish and Game will literally try to trick you and fuck you over. Same guy, different scenario. Same guy that lost the guy that shot a animal in Idaho, trying to say he thought he was in Montana, and then went back and bought a tag. So he lost his right to hunt for 3 years. And the next spring, he calls Alaska. They're part of a compact, right? So you lose your right to hunt here, you lose your right to hunt in a bunch of states.
Yep.
And called them and said, hey, I lost my right to hunt here. I just wanted to validate and verify if I'm still allowed to hunt in your state for bears this spring. Oh, yeah, come on up. No big deal. Blah, blah, blah. Right? So they pack everything up and drive all the way to fucking Alaska.
We're running out of ones
Get
now,
all the way
son.
in there. Yeah, we're going on a roll here. Well, I haven't been talking now. I'm talking, and here it comes. Right? So all the way on a roll, goes all the way up there, goes into the Fish and Game office, buys his stuff, takes 2 steps outside the building, and they arrest him.
What?
Yep. Because that was part of the compact. So they lied to him,
Oh
told him
my
he could,
gosh.
and he bought it, and they arrested him for it.
That's weird. That's so weird. You got to look
I'm
at
telling you,
so if that kind of thing happens.
It is dirty pool. It is blatantly malicious dirty pool. I don't trust any Fish and Game person, period. I feel like this is going to sound bad. I feel like Fish and Game are the people who couldn't be real cops. And seriously, I really do.
Shut out.
I really do.
They're going to show up here. This is not you messing with Lancaster. I've
seen so many instances of this just shady, dirty, malicious behavior. Like there was one Fish and Game guy that was in the Spokane area that was the most malicious person that would try to bust you on anything. Meanwhile, he's trespassing and poaching and hunting.
No.
Oh yeah. Like it's just ugh. It's like you're supposed to be a law enforcement officer. It's gross. But I guess there's bad cops in anything. I've seen so many instances where it's not just you really did something wrong. It's let's see what we can get you to confess to or admit.
So I think the point of all that, though, is literally if you're having a run-in, it is best to act like this person does not have your best interest in mind.
Yes.
And to make sure that you're holding your cards close.
My buddy that's a Fish and Game cop tells me don't tell him anything.
Wow. Okay.
Don't tell him anything.
Yeah.
They will do everything within their power to try to bust you. Even if you knowingly did something wrong, unknowingly did something wrong, didn't even do something wrong, but managed to say the wrong thing, they'll still throw the book at you.
I'm going to read some of the text messages that CJ, who is a person who knowingly
did wrong, like horrifically knowingly did
wrong. One or two things he did do wrong.
Well, he illegally harvested 2 different
deer.
No.
No. He was a good guy. He's a good guy. 2 in 1 day, man. He was a nice frame. These messages indicated Alexander was hunting deer without a license. That's that 2023 one where he texted his wife and buddies.
Right.
Just shot a fucking monster. He's communicating with his fiancée Carissa, stating, "I'm down out of my tree, so no way they'd see me. I'll hide if I have to." Like, and there was pages and pages. Again, if you go watch that Warden Watch podcast, Warden's Watch, they go through all the text messages. That's just no way they'd see me. Like, that's so obviously
you just clearly were doing something you're not supposed to be doing.
So wrong
clearly.
Here. There was literally I'd captured probably 50 of those types of things. If you want to be horrified knowing what's happened now, go watch the Hunter podcast with CJ. You'll get to see the deer, and it's unbelievable. Like, sure. they bring it out and they show it to you, and it's sickening. Now I watched the entire thing back again to just see like how excited everybody was together, and like this shared victory among hunters,
right?
And then the pariah that this dude becomes, because as soon as you do something like this, you've taken an entire group of people that are trying to operate oftentimes within arbitrary rules.
Yes.
But we're all agreeing, listen, we may think that some of the rules are bullshit, but we're all going to play by these rules.
Correct.
And we're all going to try to get the best thing that we can. And then this one fucking guy decides that he's going to go outside of the rules. And so it's not only the punishment that you get from the state, but it's the shame. That dude will walk into sporting goods stores forever, and he'll literally almost get punched.
My buddy that got busted when I was in my early 20s. He won't go into public places that are hunting ever. And that, mind you, I'm 47. He still like doesn't go into a sporting goods store. Like he won't do it.
I mean, there's some really famous guys that poach famous deer.
He still whitetail hunts, right? He hunts up in the northeast corners of the state, right? And still kills big bucks and works harder than anybody I know and follows the rules to a T, and he still won't show his face. Like it was so damaging to him mentally that he just won't do it.
So like Bowmar.
Oh,
Bowmar had to pay a 6-figure
tread
fine.
lightly. I already got threatened to get sued once.
No, I love many of the things that the Bowmars do. Bowmar had to pay a 6-figure fine.
Should we start off with the things that you love about the Bowmars?
Have you seen them?
Yes, I'm
Both
aware.
of those slabs of meat.
Oh, you're going there, huh?
No, honestly, I like a lot of the products that he makes, and I love his enthusiasm in videos. I like when he calls me, what's the thing that he says? Guys. Like he just calls me guys the entire video. Like, guys, come look over here. Guys.
Yeah.
I think it's funny.
He is a character.
He's a character.
For sure.
Okay.
For sure. They actually hunted the same place I just got back from.
Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah, my guide Santos had pictures with him and Sarah had shot a mule deer, and
nice.
Josh was trying to spot and stalk and shoot a long ways away. He's like, I want to shoot at least 100 yards away, period.
It's good for video. Really?
Yeah. Yes. Absolutely.
That's interesting.
Interesting.
Because he just wants it to be like the...
He does not care what anybody thinks at all. And like I think he's trying to upset people. I think he's trying to upset the apple cart. I really do. Because bad publicity is still good publicity.
He has more subs on his YouTube channel than almost anybody other hunting person ever.
I don't think it's an almost. I think it is.
Archery, it probably is anybody.
Yeah. It's incredible what he has done. If you're going for attention.
Right.
And probably likes attention.
It seems like
he seems like he'd like attention. I've talked to him multiple times. I've never had an issue with him.
Yeah.
He was always really nice and cordial and good communication and things of that nature, right? But I hear all kinds of mixed stuff about the guy. He's a polarizing figure, probably the most polarizing figure in our field. I
know. I'm trying to think if there's anybody that's. It's because he's so popular. I think he's so well known. I think you're right that he probably is the most polarizing figure that I can think of.
He may
that's
have
as big as he is.
He may have more subscribers that hate him than like him, just because they want to see why they hate him. Right, but honestly, being realistic, like you got a guy that looks like that and a girl that looks like that. There's gonna be a lot of people that hate them. I mean, my girlfriend's very attractive, and there's a lot of women that hate her.
She's a 6.
You take that back.
Just kidding. Don't worry. When Josh eventually brings her out.
But it's a real thing, right? And I've never been like a stunning human being physically, right? So it's not.
Come on.
Even in my glory days, man, I would never be like a 9 or a 10, right? Just not possible. Personality up there, right? Confidence up there, really good.
I do get the jealousy because people are also jealous of their money.
Oh, 100%.
And they're also like they hunt all the time because that's how they do their time. Like they've delegated their business responsibilities to people that are handling their shit, and getting them money that they can go to Africa,
which is where we need to be.
Exactly.
Did we establish it as a dollar worth?
It's for sure. Okay. Yeah. It's for sure one. And listen, we only have one of the small ones. So we're gonna have to start making change.
I'll make some.
Start making change.
You keep talking. I'll make some change.
So Bowmar, this is an interesting one because I went on a Hunter podcast to kind of I don't know if it was defending Bowmar. I think it was kind of defending Bowmar a little bit because people just like, I had people that messaged me that were basically like, he should be put to death for the poaching scenario that he was busted for.
Death?
I'm not kidding. There was 2 people that literally were like, I think if under these circumstances, you should be shot.
Let's qualify what he did wrong. What did he do wrong?
I think that he was hunting in proximity of bait when you were not allowed to bait, but he was not hunting over bait.
Right.
Now, I would have to go revisit exactly what it was because he also
pled down. Thought it was too.
He pled down, and so he was convicted of something smaller. But this is interesting. He was fined 6 figures. He was fined 100. I think it was 110,000 from what I'm remembering. It was either 90 or 110,000. Why was this CJ Alexander guy only fined 40? I think it was 42,000 in total fines.
That's a really good question.
Verse is
no, hold on. I could have sworn here. You need to catch up.
Oh gosh,
I'm pretty sure. Well, I'm pretty sure if I remember right, listening to that podcast on the Warden Watch, that when you're doing it for money, it's a more severe consequence. And clearly, what Bowmar is doing is for money.
Okay,
and that might have something to do with the fine. Like, was this guy filming his hunt? Was this guy making videos on his hunt? No. He was trying to kill an animal to give himself notoriety and fame and money off of the fact that he killed it, not the video of killing it, not the documentation of the process for everyone to see, right? Which obviously this guy couldn't do because he blatantly fucking cheated and poached it on somebody else's property. And
Bowmar's ended up being federal as well because they were transporting the deer across state lines. So that kicked it up a notch.
So let that be a lesson to you folks. It's one thing to poach an animal. It's another thing to take it out of the state. It gets a lot worse when you start going across state lines.
That's a much bigger deal.
It's a much bigger deal. It's a
Lacey Act reward was a $25,000 fine that they had to pay.
Yes.
Forfeiture of property valued at $44,000.
Yes, because anything you used in the process of harvesting said animal is also confiscated.
Like a truck, I think.
Yeah, if you drove your pickup, they'll take your truck. Like you be careful. Like it's not the distance they can go in this scenario is actually really far. And when someone of notoriety does it, which is why I've always been so straight-laced, because if someone of notoriety does it, which for Bowmar, as well known as he is, he got off light. Like really light, because I've seen people of notoriety lose everything, like completely, like they're gone, like gone. You'll never see them in the trade again.
That's the thing is the industry people just don't want to touch them. They don't want to touch them because it's too polarizing. They look at it and they just go, no. I just would rather not do this. Like I know that this guy's really great at making videos and hunt movies or whatever. I'm just not going to touch him. And there's a lot of poachers that you can go back that guys that have legitimately, in my eyes, like poached or weighted fish.
Which hold on the timeout. Let's clarify something. I am not saying Josh Bowmar poached anything, and neither are you.
For sure.
We're not saying that.
No.
I'm just saying, like that's he was not convicted of poaching.
Absolutely.
So we were not putting Josh Bowmar's name with poaching because I don't want to get sued. I had enough lawsuits already. I don't want more.
I don't want to get sued either.
Not. But that's Josh. We do not think you poached anything, and personally, I think they took a technicality and gunned for you.
That one.
Because you're famous.
That one.
And that's why you have to be really careful.
And they kept chasing him, dude.
100%.
He talks about like Sarah 100%. Being in the woods and like peeing and then looking back and there being a freaking DNR guy with fucking binoculars looking at her. On their property. Like that stuff's so crazy to me.
Yes. I think that the reality of what occurred there, it was only because they're famous. And that's once again why I think fishing game's really crooked. Oof. I really do.
Not you, though. If you're watching this and you're a fishing gamer,
the level of human being shouldn't matter on who you're going after.
No,
it should not. It's the crime, not the criminal, right?
Justice should be blind.
Justice should be blind.
Absolutely.
And in fishing game, it's not fucking close at all. I could accidentally check the wrong box in a tag application, and they would come after me, and they wouldn't give a shit about the average person.
Yeah. Oh, we're getting riled up now.
Yeah, we're getting there. No, so I really personally believe, authentically, 100%, I don't really think Bowmar did anything wrong. I don't. But there's so many people that hate him, they want to throw the book at him and call him a criminal. But once again, I don't think baiting should be illegal because I think it's an unfair advantage to a wealthy man over a poor man. And I don't think a wealthy man in the woods should be able to have an unfair advantage over a poor man from a legal means of hunting. Yeah. Either you can't hunt over food or you can, in my opinion.
No, that's
like
really
if you want to say it's not ethical to bait, then you should say you can't hunt over a food source at all.
Yeah.
That's what it should say, which I don't want that. I want everybody to be able to hunt over a food source because it's the most effective way to hunt. But I don't want a poor guy to be pigeonholed out of it where a rich guy gets the benefit, which, mind you, I own land. And if my state outlaws baiting, you can bet your sweet, sweet ass I am going to make a food plot. Is that
no?
Is
It's
there?
not. No, it's just the sweet ass. It's just a weird phrase. It's a weird phrase.
I can guarantee you, if that happens, I will have a fantastic food plot. Because you have to effectively hunt effectively. For the most part, you have to hunt over food. So if you're in a state,
selection.
If you're in a state that doesn't let you hunt in the rut. Because I live in a state that doesn't let you hunt in the rut.
That sucks. That's stupid.
I can't hunt in the rut. So I can't, sense and calls, pointless, right? And, everybody listening to this has hunted in the rut. I guarantee it for the most part. How did you call your animal? How did you get your animal in? Oh, I called him, or I used scent, or one of those things. I don't get that opportunity where I live. They take archery out of the rut completely. So you have pre and post. You do not have prime. So it's damn near impossible to call an animal in for deer. We do get pre-rut, beginning rut elk, but we also only get 10 days.
Yeah, and if the elk rut late,
the elk have done nothing but rut late in the last 5 years. It's just been pushing back and pushing back and pushing back, and it's pushing back into rifle season. Which, if you want to decimate a herd, that's a really good way to do it.
Yeah,
give the rifle guys the
rifle
rut.
Guys call them into 100.
Yeah, right. She's like, could be a break. And I mean, if you're trying to manage game, that's not a good way to do it. But yeah, I completely disagree with states that outlaw baiting but allow hunting over food.
Yeah, the argument I think is the CWD stuff. So they don't want to concentrate deer around
and
areas.
And deer don't concentrate on an alfalfa fucking field.
Right.
It's the most retarded thing. Is that a retarded count?
No, I think we're good to say retarded. We can just retarded. It's fine. That's an
retard.
That's a damn.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, you're letting animals congregate over food and water. It doesn't matter if you put it there or not. They're still congregating over food and water. Oh, right. Should we go and cut down the apple trees so the animals don't get that close to each other? Should we go turn up an alfalfa field so they don't get too close to each other? Give me a break. It's a crock of shit. It is. It's an absolute motherfucking crock of fucking shit.
That's a 4. That's a 4 for everybody.
I got 4 in there. There you go.
That's a 4 for everybody.
We're gonna fill that sucker.
We're gonna make it more difficult for me to edit this. So my buddy Kirk, who I've hunted with I was on a lease with him in Oklahoma, and we've done a few things. And what he said was the reason he likes hunting over feeders is for selection.
Correct.
Because he says, I like to see what the entire area has to offer, so I'm not shooting a 4-year-old whitetail if there's a 5-year-old that's there.
Yeah. More better selective harvest.
Correct.
Right. You're harvesting the right animals.
That's exactly right. So he's
a better population.
He's funneling them into a position that he can get pictures of them, he can see them.
Correct.
And then the other thing is, in Texas, when they had the freeze, these guys went out and laid out thousands of pounds of feed to get these deer
to make sure they didn't die.
Exactly.
That's right.
And so that's another management tool that I found really interesting, that in the season where we were, if I would have done that in Tennessee, I would have risked, a baiting charge.
Right.
Even though I would have said, no, I'm not hunting that side of the property. I'm literally doing this at the far end of my property.
So you could have pulled that off in one way legally. Go back down to Fish and Game and hand in your hunting and fishing license that you purchased and say, I'm done hunting, take it back.
So in Tennessee, I don't have to have a license to hunt on my land. I'm allowed to hunt in Tennessee because I'm a landowner and it's my primary residence. Actually, you know what? I'd have to check and see.
You better be careful there.
No. It's my primary residence.
Showing up at your house tomorrow.
No. It's my primary residence. What I don't know is,
and as I just established, they will come for you if they have a chance.
It is my primary residence. I think that's what it is. I think you have to live on the property. I don't think you can just buy land and then hunt there. Editing Brandon here. According to ChatGPT, that is not the case. If you simply own the land, you can hunt it without a license in the state of Tennessee. I think it has to be your residence. But what I'm saying is,
do you have to purchase a tag at any point in that scenario?
No, I don't have to. Now, if I want to go hunt my buddy Brandon's 40 acres, my business partner who's over in Mount Juliet or in Lebanon, I have to buy a tag to go hunt that. That's what I have to do. But if I wanted to just hunt my property, I don't have to buy a license. And then I go in and I input my map and parcel number and my driver's license and all that stuff and say, yes, I harvested it at my house. I don't have to. Which I actually like that. I like that. If I don't want to, yeah.
Yeah, that's a cool benefit.
Yeah,
because I own land and I don't get that.
Yeah,
where I am. But I mean, it's That's a good way to go about it. But you also have like
millions.
You also have animals, right?
So
you could
millions
just
of
put out a whole
greyhound
ridiculous amount of
doe.
Well, you could put out a ridiculous amount of alfalfa or whatever for your horses, and leave it out, and the deer will come and eat it. And they can't say crap about that.
So what's crazy is we have chickens and ducks, and there have been multiple days where I've thrown out mixed feed in the area that we want the chickens and ducks to go to actually like eat the bugs and degrade the soil so that it will grow.
Yes.
And I find the deer out there, and I literally think to myself, I'm not shooting him. Like, I'm not shooting him right there. No. I'm not doing it because I don't want to take the risk of somebody showing up and saying...
Technically, you've probably already broke the law.
Well, I've broke the law every day doing something, I'm sure. Oh, but you're talking about just baiting them?
You're baiting them. Is the season open?
Yeah, season's open.
I guarantee you can't legally put that out, even if it's not intended for them.
Okay, I didn't do it then. I did not ever feed my ducks. We don't feed our ducks and chickens ever. Those bastards can starve to death through the deer season. That's so wild to think about.
But that's the wild thing.
Yeah,
that's what makes it so bonkers. No different than what they threw at Bowmar. So he's got a guy that he's hunting on a guide's place, right? And the guide is baiting. He's not hunting over it. He doesn't even know it's there. And they threw that at him. Like, give me a fucking break.
I think the debate has been
that's like somebody else speeding down this highway and them writing me the ticket because I watched it happen.
I think that the rule is within 500 yards. Editing Brandon here. This is not legal advice. According to ChatGPT, it's 250 yards. We should probably stop talking so specifically in this podcast about stuff that we clearly know nothing about, and we should probably verify the laws in our own state before we hunt. So if one of my neighbors, 500 yards is a long-ass way, by the way.
Ways.
It's like a quarter mile.
It's more than a quarter mile.
It's more than a quarter mile. You're right. If one of my neighbors around me had a corn pile out and I was hunting, I could technically get in trouble.
That's
crazy. Like, now, I literally would be like, okay, hold on, guy. I'm not saying anything. I would immediately call my lawyer, and I would be like, there is no way. I would have to trespass onto this person's property to go find this out. So I would expect that a Fish and Game or DNR officer would be like, I know this isn't like...
You would expect.
I know, but now...
But they're not gonna.
I'm not gonna say... Like, if that ever happens to me, I'm gonna just clam up.
Yeah, don't say anything.
Hey, your guy in the Toyota Corolla that we almost shot today when I was leaving.
Yeah, maybe they've learned that that's not their road and they shouldn't park there.
Let's button this thing up.
We'll see. How long has it been?
I don't know, but my wife's texted me twice. My wife. I said, I haven't even drank that much.
I know you haven't.
I'm just getting going.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know. She's texted me twice.
Let it roll, dude. Let it roll. Come on, this is good. This is a good conversation. This is saucy and spicy.
It's saucy and spicy, but I still think it's interesting.
Tip that back up and count to 5.
Hey, listen, Josh only comes into town once a month, and so Becky, he's mine for now.
Maybe she would like to come by and just listen and watch and see how ridiculously stupid we are.
You'd hear Felix in the background just crawling around being spaz. He knows how to pull arrows out of stuff, though.
Yes.
He would go back here and he'd just pull arrows out of all the boxes.
And take like 3 hours to put it all back together.
It'd be so much fun.
That'd be epic.
All the spines would be confused. The whole deal. It'd be chaos.
Oh yes. No, just this particular subject. Now, granted, for every CJ, and I'm gonna make a valid point that I really feel is massively valid. For every CJ, there's a Bowmar. And I know
bet you it's like 5-1 is my guess. I would bet you that for every truly sociopathic, dark piece of shit, there's probably 4 or 5 people that just did something by accident. That just didn't even know a thing.
They didn't even know.
They didn't even know. Exactly.
Like how in the world do you expect a Bowmar to know there's bait over there?
That is a crazy law.
That's the most asinine thing I've ever heard. How do you expect that guy? That guy shows up on a different ranch every week, right? Which, I mean, if I had his money, that's freaking awesome. Great for you, dude. Get it. Go get you go get yourself, boy. That's awesome. Go light your truck on fire and pull back another 200-pound longbow. Get it. That's awesome. Get it. But the fact that people hate him for that is the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah, I don't think that's why, though.
The people that are saying that, I guarantee, are probably way more guilty of something than he ever did. Like,
maybe.
How do you bust somebody for that?
That's I don't. If that
That's
if genuinely,
that's
if that's
like
what
Trump
it was.
having 34 felonies
Ooh.
that received 0 consequences. How do you get charged with 34 felonies and you don't have an actual jail time or a financial fine or nothing?
It's because they hadn't gotten a sentencing yet, and then they deferred sentencing because he was elected to the presidency of the United States. But if you actually look at Trump's trial, he was charged with something at a level that no one in the history of the state had ever been charged at that level.
He was charged. He was charged with something that was never a felony.
It was a misdemeanor.
That was past the statute of limitations. It was over 7 years old, and they just decided to make that a felony.
And the special prosecutor came in, and they got the law changed to just go after Trump.
Yeah.
Megyn Kelly actually does a tremendous breakdown of this. I think she was at the All In Summit, and she talks through it, and it's. First of all, like, she's just amazing to watch when you're just like watching this beautiful, blonde, entertaining, gorgeous, smart woman. My wife. I'm talking about my wife, not Megyn Kelly.
She's very beautiful and she's very smart.
Oh my gosh, she's brilliant. But when you watch her break down what happened with Trump, you're like, this is completely insane. It's going back to the poaching stuff or not poaching stuff. I think you do raise some good points. I don't want Fish and Game or DNR and anybody of those things. Like, my butthole puckers up whenever I see those people too, because I'm always just concerned that I'm accidentally doing something wrong. But I'm kind of similar to you, where especially if I'm going into another state, where I'm like, I need to make sure I'm not doing anything wrong. But can I give you a confession that I might cut out of this?
I would love to hear it.
Okay. Oklahoma, I was deer hunting, and in the state of Tennessee, when you buy a deer license, I can get a turkey as well.
Okay.
So like on my property, it falls into that same category. And if I want to go hunt on somebody else's land, I can buy a deer license, and it comes with a turkey.
Okay.
So when I went to the Walmart, and I was talking to Sweet Peggy at the Walmart down in Oklahoma,
Sweet Peggy,
Sweet Peggy, to get my deer license, I said I would like to get a turkey as well, just in case I see some, because the property's big enough that as I'm walking, stalking, whatever, I might see some turkey. I'd like a turkey on there. Me and Peggy get to talking. I happen to see a turkey. I shoot the turkey. I check the turkey in, and then I go to tag the turkey. Like, I'm doing this all at the same time. Like, I'm doing the thing, I'm checking it in, and I'm going to pull my tag out.
You're trying to do your due diligence.
I'm doing all the things that I'm
job
supposed
correctly,
to do.
right?
And I pull out the thing, and I see no turkey license on there, and I just see deer. And I realize what has happened is, as I was distracting dear Sweet Peggy, she gave me deer.
Well, you can be quite distracting.
I can be. Like and subscribe if you've made it this far.
It's a miracle if they've made it this far, Brandon.
There's been some ups and downs in this one. So I shot a turkey without a license. And even though my intention was to have the license, and I would say that Peggy fucked me, because I had literally intended to have the turkey thing. So I had already checked it in. So I immediately called the Fish and Game department down in Oklahoma, got a hold of the local person, and he said, you have to pay $100 fine, and then you have to buy the license. And that's the restitution for this.
Okay, well, you're
and
fine.
I was like, okay, that's fair to me, because I fucked up because I think I swore twice. Because I didn't look at the license when I got it, which is my fault. I'm not actually blaming Peggy. I should have looked at the license.
You should kind of blame Peggy because you requested something that she did not do.
I did ask her for that, and I felt like I was very clear.
Yeah.
She didn't do it. I should have looked at the license. But like, that's one of those things where I'm kind of sensitive when people like, you poached. Like, people might comment on this video if we leave this part in. I think I should leave it in.
You should. There's nothing wrong with this conversation.
You poached that turkey. I'm like, I don't think I poached him. Well, my intention was to be in line with what I was supposed to do.
Even if you did, let's say you did, you paid the appropriate fine and informed the police of what you did, however accidental. There's nothing wrong with what you did.
I paid my debt to society.
You did. And fortunately for you, it was a turkey. Because most Fish and Game could give two shits about turkey. No, I'm not kidding. Like the same guy who did the the Montana elk thing that I was talking about, right?
Yeah.
We're leaving names off this. His wife previously had shot a turkey without a tag the year before and got busted for it, and it was a small fine. No loss of anything, right? They thought they had a tag that didn't have a tag.
They thought they had a tag, though?
Yeah, they thought they had bought the tag. They forgot.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, they forgot that they hadn't bought it when they bought the other stuff, right?
Yep.
Similar scenario, other than you knowingly asked for the tag, thought you were given it, didn't receive
Checked the animal in.
Yes.
That's the other thing.
Yeah, like if
that's
you
the
really,
verification. Checked
you
it
checked
in.
it in and then went, oh my God, she didn't give me a tag.
And and literally as I was going through the process, I was like, oh, dude, and the pants shitting feeling that occurred. Like just the absolute like, what have I done? Beautiful bird. Happy to have it.
Yeah, I mean, that's just the reality of it. And that's such an innocent thing. And honestly, depending on who you get and where you're at, that is really not different than the Bowmar thing. It's not.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Technically, you didn't have the tag, right? And if you want to take this out, take it out. I don't care.
But I'll leave it in. I think
technically
it's fine.
You didn't have the tag, so technically you shot an animal without a tag. Technically, he shot an animal within 500 yards of bait. He didn't know it was there.
Yeah, and I'll go through and I don't know if I'll cut in. I'll go through and I'll ask ChatGPT to basically look what he was convicted of. The thing is,
that was what I was. I heard and what I found was that he was within 500 yards of bait.
Where Chris B shoots an animal 4 or 5 different times, and you guys make a bunch of commentary on it.
I already did that.
That's what I don't want.
I was defending the guy, and I still defend the guy. I still do. He tried to make the best of a bad situation. He did.
We're talking about Chris now,
yes.
Right? Uh-huh.
He tried to make the best of a bad situation, and I'll still defend him today, and I'll defend him to anybody. He tried to make the best of a bad situation. It didn't go well. He probably thought his equipment was going to do something that it didn't do, and then he did everything within his power to take the animal down.
Yeah, once you shoot
because once you've hit that animal, you keep shooting.
1,000,000%.
And anybody who says that's wrong can fuck off.
Yeah, no,
that's ridiculous. Like he shot an animal. It wasn't going well. He did everything he could to take it down. And the negative part is they never actually killed that animal, and he shot another one. Ooh. And that's where it went. And I didn't know that. Like the suggestion was, hey, let's watch this video live on our pod.
You should have. That would have been epic.
It was gone. I'd watched the video.
Somebody come in?
That's probably Teresa.
Oh, okay.
It was up.
Because they'd pulled it down.
It was up and they pulled it down.
Yeah.
Right? So it was up, and I'd watched part of it like the day or two before because I was getting messages about it, right? So I'm like, all right, well, I guess I should probably go look at this because shockingly, I don't watch a lot of YouTube. And I heard about it, so I was like, I went and watched it, and I'm like, what's the big deal? Like, okay, yeah, he made a bad shot, so he just kept shooting until it went down. Well, I didn't know that was the second one.
Yeah.
Because they had edited it, I guess, at one point.
Okay.
And tried to remove the fact that he had shot 2 or something like that. But the guy just tried to put the animal down. I don't think there was anything irresponsible about it whatsoever.
Yeah, if you shoot once and you miss slightly, you got to keep shooting that animal.
Yeah.
I don't care if you shoot him in the butthole. Like, you literally have to shoot the animal as many times as you can. Just get arrows in them.
Yeah, just 100%. Get it down. Get it down, get him bled out, and get it over with.
100%.
And I still, literally, hand of God, I defend Chris B in what happened. I don't think there was malicious, carelessness, anything like that. However, the dude was in charge of the edit. You could have made it look better. It's video. You could
right. You don't have to be this honest,
you let
guys.
That go?
You don't have to be this honest.
How'd you let that one go? But
Chris may have literally
that,
ruined hunting an entire country for people with a bow.
Oh, God,
thanks, Chris.
Which is so don't. That's so bad. And it shouldn't come down to that. It really shouldn't. That's just messed. That's fucked up.
No, it's because it's just people that don't understand. I don't know. You meet people that bow hunt and understand what it means to be a bow hunter and understand what it means to how it feels to accidentally wound something and then have to shoot it again. And then
it's a terrible feeling.
It's a terrible feeling. And then to still recover the animal and all that. That's a satisfactory feeling as a bow hunter because you recovered the animal, but it's a horrible 15, 20 minutes probably until you go find the animal.
Oh yeah,
that's an awful feeling.
Just vomit, grossness.
But to a vegan, to that kind of person, we are absolute axe murderers.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. But those people are psycho anyway.
Yeah, of course they are. Of course they are.
Yeah, just eat your vegetables. Vegetables are alive too,
They scream when you eat them, and when you cook them.
They do. You just can't hear the language.
It's the alien language of the vegetables.
The amount of animals you killed to plant that field.
Yeah, but those are little bitty animals. They don't count.
Yeah, they're not nearly as pretty,
The
so they don't
chipmunks
count.
and all that stuff. Who cares about that?
Yeah,
The voles.
How cute does an animal have to be for you to care about killing it?
A dog size.
Yeah.
Even possums.
Yeah, under
who cares
that,
about that?
under that, who cares? They're
Our
ugly.
friend,
Yeah.
Richard LaDouche. Nobody cares
like
about
Richard
him.
LaDouche could get murdered 17 times by a vegan. They wouldn't care at all.
Exactly.
But now that monkey over there.
Oh. I don't know if people can see the monkey.
You're horrible.
I've got
kill one
he
of
was a
those.
$6 monkey that I got from the TJ Maxx. I'm gonna move him over.
Was in TJ's?
I think so.
Oh, it's a legit TJ buy.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
He's really he's almost, is he smiling? Is that kind of a smile?
It's a little bit of a
It's a little
smile.
smile.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
No,
wow.
he's happy to be here. He's happy to be here listening to us.
Well, hopefully everyone's happy to be here because this is fun.
If you're still here, like and subscribe.
Of course. And Brandon is not even halfway through his 40.
I know, but I can't. I gotta
You've been
go
talking
home
hard.
after this.
I know.
And
You're not going to finish it. It's okay.
I'm not. The goal is not to finish these, unless we start this at like 10 a.m.
Well, the hope is that that's not the last King Cobra that the gas station ever has. Because when I first saw that, and you're like, "Oh, King Cobra, this is amazing," my brain was like, "Have these been sitting here for 10 years and Brandon's buying them?"
Yes, is the answer for
Yeah,
sure.
It's very likely. I'd never heard of
We
it.
went to a concert in Atlanta,
Mm-hmm.
and we went into a liquor store that was like one of the liquor stores where you have to go ask them for what they want,
Yeah.
for what you want, because there's no alcohol out, because it's clearly just a terrible area.
Yeah.
And I asked for something, and the guy was like, "I'm pretty sure that thing that you're asking for is probably a scotch or something like that. Has been here for like a long, long time."
That
and I
just
said,
means it's
"What's
better."
the freshest thing that you have?" And he said, "King Cobra." So we knew we were in a good spot.
Yeah, it's a good spot. They love the Cobra.
And so we drank them in the parking lot that night before the Radiohead concert.
Oh, you went to Radiohead?
Oh, dude, I've seen them a few times. It's
Badass.
so good. It was amazing.
That is the one thing I'm actually kind of excited about being down here for, because I haven't had good music options ever.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I mean, I've seen some really cool shit in my day, but not nearly like I should, because I was a workaholic and I wouldn't take time.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty psyched to actually see some cool concerts.
I think now that like kind of the shop is established, by the way, Nashville North Archery open now. I think we should definitely like start going and doing some stuff like that.
I'm good.
It'd
I'm
be
down
super
for it. Yeah.
That's part of the
Yeah.
reason that like you having an East Coast and a West Coast business, a Mid Coast, like that's part of the thing is you come to Nashville to like experience the new stuff of Nashville and hang out with new people.
I've
and,
still
like,
yet to do that.
Well, you're just getting it off the ground.
In fact, I kind of got in trouble for not doing that when I brought the girlfriend here, which is somewhat your fault because you were going to take us downtown, just for the record. I'll throw that out there. But yeah, she was not
She was
super happy.
busy
She was
cleaning up the grease
Oh,
underneath.
God,
the
that poor thing. What a trooper.
She did do a good
Oh,
job.
she did a
about
really
that.
good job.
And then she
of
fell
it,
asleep on the floor. She was so
yeah,
tired.
she was so wiped out. And then the whole next day was just wrecked. It's like, yeah, I'm not doing anything. I was like, I understand. You go right ahead. That was a shit job.
Yeah, no, you did. It was so nice of you to let her do that. Just clean off like 25 years of catfish grease
disgusting.
from behind the grill
It
area.
was very disgusting.
Come see the shop. It's beautiful and gorgeous and clean now.
It is very nice and clean, and you can thank Becky for the fact that it's clean.
That's right. That's
yeah,
right.
100%. But yeah, no, that would be cool.
Well, we
really
definitely
need to.
will. We definitely will. And so you'll have to come down near me, which is the First Bank Arena, and they opened it. It's kind of got Red Rocks vibes.
Oh, cool.
So it was an old rock quarry. And so one of the entire walls in there is an old like quarry limestone wall. And then down at the bottom is the stage. And it's just epic. 7,000 feet or 7,000 seat arena. Saw Coulter Wall there this year. Smashing Pumpkins, Incubus. It was so fun, dude. It was so fun. We had like, we were like probably 20 feet from Billy Corgan during Smashing Pumpkins. It was so epic. I was a 13-year-old boy again.
I was actually more excited about the Incubus, to be honest.
Incubus was great too.
Oh,
Incubus was great. Yeah, they got this new female bass player. She's epic.
Yeah?
Yeah. Like that's
Sick.
one of those things that when I see a woman, I'm gonna get in trouble. When I hear they're very
Don't make
technical.
a sexist comment.
They're so technical. And when she came out at first, I was like, okay, how is this gonna go? It was tremendous. That is very sexist of me to say. I don't care. It's the same like when I see a female archer, or when I see. Okay, we're not even gonna.
Female archers a poor choice. They're actually really good.
In general,
Female archers are better.
me and Paige Pierce are basically best friends.
Oh, really?
Yeah, dude, we message all the time.
Really?
Yeah, no, we've talked on Instagram twice. 'Cause I think I told her she did a good job with the video, and she was like, "Oh, that guy has 8,000 followers on Instagram." By the way, follow me on Instagram, Brandon McDonald _archery. What's your Instagram?
Podium Archer.
If you made it this far, like and subscribe.
Yeah, no, actually, I talked to Paige Pierce in person once, but that's the only communication.
She should come to the shop.
You should. Yeah.
I think we're going to shoot. So I think at Tennessee Tack.
We have a better chance of her coming to Spokane than here.
That's stupid.
It's
Spokane
closer.
sucks.
For as far as something to do, yes, you're not wrong.
That's what I'm saying. Come to Nashville, come see a concert, and hang out.
Tate's family is from Superior, which is not very far from Spokane. They're only like 3 hours.
That doesn't help me much, buddy.
I understand. I understand.
Okay.
Well, we do have a much more interesting pool to draw from in this area.
That's
just
right.
being fair.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think James is going to bring Brianna and her sister, her twin sister, to the Tack.
Yeah, no, Becky's coming too.
And Becky's going to come. Is she going to shoot?
I doubt she's going to shoot. She's probably just going to help.
Okay.
And I'm still back and forth on whether or not I'm going to get a booth. If I get a booth, she'll be in the booth when we're shooting.
That's going to suck a little bit, though, because I feel like you're going to just be drawn back to the booth.
Well, but I've thought about this a lot, okay? And the reality of going into the vendor village as me,
Yeah.
I can't walk around.
No, but you get stopped, and then
I get
people
stopped.
come. I know.
But if I was in the booth, they'd just know where I was, and
I guess
I
that's
wouldn't have
valid.
to walk around, and maybe I'd have a chair.
And then maybe you'd also be able to like sell a thing with your face on it or something.
Well, there's that, but the reality of, hey, here's where I am, no different than Dudley's got a booth,
yeah.
right? And
No, that's
everybody
valid.
knows where John is. So
Yeah.
if they want to go see John, which would have a much bigger crowd than me because John's a bigger deal,
Of course.
right? They know where he is.
Yeah.
So I'm contemplating doing
No,
it.
that's not a terrible idea. I think you would just want to make sure that you had product that you were
Yeah.
actually like,
No, it'll all be
here's the
swag.
things that I'm going to sell.
It would all be swag. I wouldn't bring
Okay.
anything but swag.
That's it. You wouldn't bring like any of the dudes. You could sell your bars. You could sell
You
some
could-
of your presses. Like you make
could.
good stuff
I know.
that you could bring and you could sell. And if you're gonna bring a freaking like a box trailer anyway,
Yeah, I'm driving one down here.
I know
month.
that's what I'm saying. You have to
So
bring
you
you have to bring my red stag back. 'Cause that's where the guy's gonna
Yeah,
bring
you're
it.
not wrong. No, maybe just my own private label products that I've made. Maybe I don't know. I just originally it was just like swag. Screw it. So I
think
Sean,
you should
Sean still
expand.
has a couple of booths. So I talked to him just 2 days ago. So there's still room in
It might be good, but I don't want it to distract from the fun that we had because it was so much fun last year in San Antonio.
It won't. The only difference would be wandering around the vendor village as opposed to being in one spot in the vendor village.
But then there's the setup,
Yeah, that's okay.
there's the breakdown.
It's honestly, it wouldn't be that elaborate.
Okay.
I wouldn't. I just have, a canopy, probably some signage, a table, probably a cloth over the table.
Can you
and then
do
some
all
products.
that while on edibles though?
I didn't do the edibles, if you recall. That was you guys. And James' face is melting off in the middle of a pod.
James accident.
The most talkative guy in the group couldn't speak for a half hour. Which him and Brianna are coming up when I get back. Like
Nice.
4 or 5 days. They're going to be up for like.
We're talking
5 or
about
6.
James and Brianna
James,
from
yes,
BoDisciples.
sir. Old BoDisciples.
Yeah, that's great, man.
Yeah.
I don't like them because they're BoTech people though.
Oh, that's right, because you hate BoTech because you're an idiot.
BoTechs are so gay, so
Yeah.
retarded. We can say retarded, right?
I think we've established that retard is an okay word to use.
BoTech
Yeah.
is so retarded.
Well, that would be, a tribute to Slow. So if that's the case, then Prime's probably retarded.
And I'm going to snip that and put it at the very beginning of the episode for everyone to hear.
You're welcome. Enjoy that. But actually, surprisingly, it was one of the more common bows that we requested to test fire on Saturday. So I've
When
actually
you destroy the bow, like
No. No. Just
people coming in.
just
Okay.
Yeah, it
By the
was
way,
like-
I'm joking about BoTech. Like it's just
Yeah.
a thing. It's like part of the like bougie bitch character thing that
Yeah.
you've somehow created. For
Yeah,
me.
you are a bougie
I
bitch.
just leaned into the
just
BoTech hate a
enjoy
little
it.
bit.
Just enjoy it. So that was Matt's actually pretty shocked. Which, if you don't know, Matt Eddy runs the pro shop down here. You might know who he is if you're in this area. He's actually been reasonably surprised by how many people wanted to test fire a BoTech, and it's because there wasn't somebody within 60 miles here that was a BoTech dealer.
Yeah, I mean Taylor's is the closest one, and they're you're exactly right. They're far away. Like,
Yeah, they're a long ways from
Archery
here.
Den and Binks. Neither of them carry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So surprisingly, for a major brand, which I know that they're more of a Western brand than an Eastern brand.
I don't know why that would be though.
Well,
Like,
because of poor representation, I think.
but
from a
people
sales rep
like the
standpoint.
tunability of them. Like the
Oh, yeah.
deadlock stuff is so legit. People
But only a small percentage of people even know what that is.
Really?
It's terrible marketing.
When people come in here, they don't understand. They don't.
A small percentage of people know what it is.
That's wild.
Yeah. It's just bad marketing. Now, granted, we've been doing a good job of talking about things like that, the relevance of them, why they're important, etc. So there's a growing community of knowledge, right? But in general, they just didn't market it at all. Like it wasn't something that somebody understands what it does and why it does it and how much better it is.
That's the problem. I feel like people don't understand that, like, because I remember when I started out, I would be like, okay, I see the Allen screws on my rest, so that must be how I move this thing around, and then I would say this is how I move it, versus being like, no, you put the rest where it's supposed to be, and then you move the cams, and it's going to be more better.
Which is what you're supposed to be doing anyway.
But that's what I'm saying is, but right? I wouldn't have known that. And when I started out, I was shooting bows that, like, you look at the cams and I would just be like, please, I hope nothing happens up here because I don't know what's going on.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, there's no need for us to delve into other topics on this podcast.
This has been a good one.
This has been a good one. Yeah. Hey, there's one more dollar in here. Why don't you throw one last final fuck out here for us? and then we can wrap it up. Do you want any last words? This is the biggest fishbowl I can find. And you couldn't even get it in there.
Wow, that's terrible. Yeah, I'm going to close this off with saying Bowmar got robbed.
Ooh.
He did. Ooh. And the people out there that are, hating on him, you're an idiot. Like, you just are. Like, the guy got robbed.
I'll say they're uninformed.
No,
I'll just say they're
because uninformed. You're a bougie bitch.
I'm trying to be kind to everyone except CJ Alexander, who can go fuckity fuck himself. That's the 20.
Fuck.
That's the
there
20, everybody.
That was 20.
Hey. See ya.